I'll call the Clewiston City Commission meeting to order. It is Monday, August 19th, 2024 at 5 p.m. If you would stand and join me in a prayer, and then you can lead us in the pledge. Father, thank you for this opportunity to gather together, just, Lord, to discuss and decide on the business of the city. Lord, we seek your wisdom and your advice and your counsel today as we make these decisions. Lord, thank you for those who serve us as first responders, our military, and we just ask your blessings on them and their families. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. The flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, Manager, any changes?
Yes, Mayor. Agenda number 9, 17, 18, 19, and 20 will be removed and pushed to the September 16th meeting.
Okay, 9, 17, 18, 19, 20.
And 21.
And 21,
And
sorry. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, well, that's really good news.
Just 2 hours tonight.
Do we need, I know Dylan's not here, but do we need a motion to move those? Because some of them are public hearings.
Yes.
Yeah, we better, yes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to move those to the September 2024 meeting for the city commission.
Okay, motion by Gardner, second by Highslope to move the agenda items to the following meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That'll be the 16th.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, we'll have any public comments. If it has to do with an agenda item, you're more than welcome to wait until that item comes up. You would state your name and address.
Rolly Gonzalez, 305 Via de la Cruz. Good afternoon, members of the board and all staff present. I'm here today to seek clarification regarding the current status of the Police Explorer program. As the new year has begun, these young men and women have hesitated to make other commitments due to the uncertainty surrounding this program, leaving them in the dark. I know it was a surprise to the chief of police that he's here today, that I brought forward these explorers. And today I'm accompanied by some of these explorers who hold a deep love and admiration for this program. They're here to share their thoughts and advocate for a new beginning, standing up for their rights as citizens and future taxpayers. With that, I would like to introduce the commanding officer, Rolly Gonzalez, and he'll take 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Rolando Gonzalez, and I am the commanding officer of the Clewiston Police Explorer Program. My parents, Rolly and Annabelle Gonzalez, and I reside at 305 Via de la Cruz. I'm here today to speak against the termination of the Clewiston Police Explorer Program, a program that means a lot to me and many other young people in our community. The Police Explorer Program is not just an activity or something to do after school. It is a place where young people like me can grow, learn, and make a difference. Through this program, we get a chance to understand what it's like to be in law enforcement. We learn about discipline, respect, and responsibility. These are not just words or ideas. They are lessons that we carry with us every day. They shape us, who we are, and who we will become as an adult. When I joined the Police Explorers, I didn't know what to expect. But as I more time in the program, I realized that it was teaching me so much more than I ever imagined. I learned how to work as a part of a team, how to communicate clearly, and how to lead others. I also gained a deep respect for the police officers who protect our community every day. These are the kind of lessons that stay with you for life. If you decide to end this program, you'll be taking away an important opportunity for many young people in Clewiston. Without this program, they might not get the chance to learn these valuable life skills. They not might find the same sense of purpose or direction. The Police Explorer program helps us stay on the right path, away from trouble, and focus on positive goals. The program also builds a strong connection between the police and the community. In today's world, we often hear about tension between law enforcement and the public. But programs like the Police Explorer help to bridge the gap. When young people like me spend time with the police officers, we see them as real people, not just uniforms. We understand the challenges they face and the hard work they go through to keep us safe. And in turn, they get to know us, the next generation, and see our potential. Ending the Clewiston Police Explorer program would weaken this bond. It will create a gap where there should be understanding and cooperation. We need programs like this to continue so that future generations can have the safe opportunities I have had. I also stand here today, not just for myself, but for all the young people who might join this post in the future. I ask for you to think about the positive impacts this post has had on me and many others. Think about the lessons we learn, the connections we make, and the better community we built together. Please do not terminate the Clewiston Police Explorers. Let it continue to shape the future of our community in a positive way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's the officer, who's the lead officer over you guys, Mr. Gonzalez?
It is Sergeant Roberts and Sergeant Conyers.
Did they know you would be here today?
No, sir.
Oh, maybe you should have discussed it with them. I'd like the chief to come up before you speak, ma'am, and let us know what's going on with the Explorer program.
John Lewis, Chief of Police. First and foremost, I'm quite frankly embarrassed. Had absolutely no idea that they had planned on coming today. Just for everybody's knowledge, we're currently going through the budget process. We're nearing the end of the process, and we have absolutely no intention of ending the program. As a matter of fact, there's never been more funding placed in the general budget than it was actually this coming fiscal year. So unfortunately, I'm really proud of you guys for having the courage to come up here and speak, but unfortunately you've been very misinformed. So that's really, there is no actual question, there's no termination of the program. I think maybe there's just a little bit of internal things that I'm gonna have to work out when I get back.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, thank you.
you.
That's,
Thanks,
I was
Chief.
kind of surprised to hear that. Okay.
Well, I'd just like to say a few comments as well. I'm very surprised about the information that you guys brought forth, because I know what the chief is saying is the truth. It's misinformation. The program has not been cut. In fact, the program itself, we applaud it. We have, before you and your family even moved to town, we have been the supporters of the Clewiston Explorers Club at the Clewiston Police Department. Now, with any department of the city and with any activities of the city, every budget cycle, we have to review the programs. And so those programs, every program that we have from A to Z is reviewed. And this year was a challenging year that we challenged each of the department directors to look at their budget and to see how we could improve things for the future. And that's what they did. That's what they did. And that means that the Explorer programs continues as it has many years at the Clewiston Police Department. Thank you for, I know that y'all just went to camp and some of you got awarded some, certifications, and I applaud each of your work because I know it's not easy. As you just mentioned, sir, it's hard work and it's working with our police officers.
residential, you know, because there's very few instances where it's commercial and second stories. So that is a very unique circumstance, and
Yeah.
hopefully we can work through it.
No,
Thank you very much.
come by and see me tomorrow, Gary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have my number.
But I know that the question wasn't answered, and because I interrupted y'all, so could you
That's
answer
quite
the
all right.
question?
So it sounds like this was a code enforcement action that was initiated. Have you gone before a magistrate yet?
No, I went to the city to ask why,
Okay.
and
I think you took them down before.
Oh, okay. So it would proceed. You would proceed to a magistrate. There would be a hearing as to whether there was a violation of the code or not. You could present evidence or explain a hardship to the magistrate at that point in time.
I wasn't charged.
Okay.
In other words, I took it down within
Yeah,
that period
he
they gave me,
took it
so I
out.
was never fined or anything,
Mhm.
Got it.
nothing like that. I did it before I was.
And just for the public's knowledge, you're required to give individuals a reasonable period of time to come into compliance with any potential code violation. And generally, magistrates are pretty gracious and they are accommodating to individuals. So it's not this insane violation process where it's punitive and we're looking to get folks in trouble. There's generally a large period of time granted for people to come into compliance with the code. Anyone can apply for a variance through the city but you have to prove that some aspect of your property is in such a way that is a hardship, and it would become incredibly difficult for you to comply with that code provision. That is just an application process. There's a hearing involved, and those are case-by-case decisions. And then, of course, the city council is ultimately responsible for, full-scale amendments to any city policy.
I do want to make this clear. They did give me a time period,
Okay.
and I won't say it was unreasonable.
Yeah.
I think it was 10 days, but like I said,
You were in Wisconsin, yeah.
Fell on deaf ears, it was.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you could certainly look into applying for a variance. If it's something, we could talk about that before in advance, if that's a route you wanted to go.
Thanks, Dylan.
Okay.
Gary.
Anyone else tonight for public comments? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Move that we approve.
Motion to approve, Gardner.
Okay.
Second by Edmonds. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're honored to have a presentation tonight by the United Way.
Good
Good
evening,
to see some
Lisa.
of you. Lisa Sands, I'm the Assistant Director for Henry Glades for United Way. I just came by to give you a couple updates and to say thank you. Not asking for anything tonight, so just to let you know, we opened our Clewiston United Way House, which United Way houses are going to be rebranded as resiliency hubs. You'll see that coming in the future, but thank you, Commissioner Edmonds, for coming and supporting us at that June 5th event. We appreciate your participation in that and being there to support us. So that is located at the county sub office, 1100 Olympia Avenue. We're in rooms 512 and 513. Estella Aguilar is our staff person there. She is a mental health resource manager, and we are using funding from the Hanley Foundation to support that position to provide more mental health services in the community. So you'll see that information coming out more and more. We have some partner agencies like the Salvation Army and ACT and some of those other wraparound support services coming to use that location with us. We have plans with the county in the future, ongoing in the future, as you know, to expand services there and expand our space there. So be looking for that information, and you can send folks in that direction that are looking for any kind of assistance. We also are working on kicking off our current campaign. We're in the process of fund distribution. Some of you have participated in that or will be participating very shortly in that process. We take teams of volunteers out to review our partner agencies each year. Our agencies don't just get funding every year, they have to apply for it, and we review their application and what they're doing with that funding in the community. So we're in that process now, which will set our goal for the upcoming year. So you'll see that information coming as well. And I just wanted to say thank you tonight. Employees from the city of Clewiston are able to support United Way through payroll deductions. And with that, with our last campaign, they raised $1,362 with their payroll deductions. So thank you for those of you that do that through the city. And if you don't mind, I'd like to take a quick picture.
Absolutely.
Mayor?
Real quickly, Lisa, I just want to say thank you for all the work that you do for our community. Just working with you through the chamber and on the fund distribution stuff, it's very impressive to see all that the United Way does.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Lisa.
And we apologize again for giving out your cell phone number.
I think Travis is going to.
He's,
for that.
Travis
Just
is-
getting out of your
Travis
way.
says it.
Travis got it.
Why don't you come up and stand with Lisa since it's the employees
Okay.
that gave the funding? Yeah.
They just make you get out of the way.
That's right.
You want to be in the picture?
No, Danny's gonna get the picture.
Danny's gonna come here and then.
We told you he was an expert. Wow.
All right. We'll do this twice. So 1, 2, 3. A picture and then one for your phone. Can you share it?
All right. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
Appreciate it so much.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the city's official.
I think,
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
I
we
grabbed
rolled
it.
over.
Sorry.
Okay, we have a few resolutions to go through tonight. The first one is resolution number 2024-049. I'll read that by title. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving the Santec Consulting Services, Inc. proposal for the North Francisco Improvements Design Project. And as you guys know, that is grant funded.
Mayor, we also have Mr. Juan from Stantec who would like to speak about the project, give you guys some updates.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Juan Bolivar, I'm with Stantec Consulting. I also have Don Matson, who's a senior engineer with Stantec Consulting as well. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the project itself, but this is North Francisco Road from US 27 all the way up to Hoover Dyke Road. This is basically the access road to the Lake Okeechobee area. And so this project requires some improvements to the road. There's some asphalt that is in deteriorated condition that the city would like to improve. There are some safety improvements that are being proposed in terms of pedestrian safety. The city would like to explore adding a shared use path in lieu of the existing narrow sidewalk. Some drainage improvements to existing culverts that are in deficient condition currently. So we'll look at the drainage characteristics of the project and propose improvements regarding the nature of the facilities in general. But the overall scope involves milling and resurfacing of the road to improve the conditions for the access of the boats and all the traveling public.
Okay, good. I
What
think-
kind of time frame are we looking at?
So my
This-
understanding is that FDOT has already reviewed the grant application and they're in concurrence with what was submitted. So I believe design could conceivably start within the next couple of months. And then the design schedule is something that we'll have to discuss closely with the city engineer as we discuss multiple alternatives, but it should be probably around 12 months or less for design.
Yeah, and I think the commission would agree that we're excited about this project because it is a gateway to our lake. So we want it to pop, we want it to look good, we want those walking paths and maybe even a golf cart path. We want it to be very inviting. So when you begin the design process, you'll get with the city manager and staff and our engineer, but kind of preliminary on, we'd kind of like to see, what you have planned, the plan is come up with. Because it is possible that we can maybe add some CRA dollars to that project for maybe some enhancements we would like as a city. May not be covered under the grant, but might be something we could fund. Anyway, we're very excited.
And we're certainly open to working with everyone and evaluating alternatives and coming up with a design that everyone can feel proud of. So.
Yes. Any other questions?
I move we accept, approve resolution 2024-49.
Second.
Okay, motion by Thompson, second by Highslope. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 4. You guys don't have to hang around if you have a long drive, but you're more than welcome to.
Good, yeah.
You mentioned you wanted
Oh, the bridge update. Do you mind if he gives you a bridge update?
No, go ahead.
No, if you can do that. Well, thank you.
Okay, so we are also managing the construction project for the C-21 Canal Bridge that provides access to the St. Lake. We are currently about 95% construction complete. We've achieved most of major scope items. And all that's left at this point is some parking lot surface improvements and some signage that needs to be installed, but the project is progressing according to schedule, and everyone has been real cooperative. So I really appreciate the city and all the consultants and contractors, because it's been truly a team effort.
And when do you propose the completion of that parking lot?
We are awaiting procurement of some signage that needs to be installed. That's what's driving the schedule now. We anticipate about 13 weeks for the contractor to get those signs that they ordered already. So, but aside from that, the general project scope should be completed within a month or so.
Right. Okay. All right. Any further questions? Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. Looks really good.
Thank you.
Y'all aren't in charge of mowing the grass up there, are you?
We are not.
Okay. Just checking, that's all. Okay.
We actually did.
Hey, my guys told me they did that.
No, we did, but that's.
No, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, item 4 on the agenda is Resolution 2024-050. I'll read that by title. A resolution of the City of Clewiston, Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving the Tetra Tech, Inc. Work Order Number 4 for the Wastewater Plant Improvement Project Professional Services.
We have Mr. Danny Nelson from Tetra Tech, who's going to give you some updates. He's been the one mainly involved with Tetra Tech, and he was wanting to come and give you guys some updates tonight.
For the record, Danny Nelson with Tetra Tech. I'm going to go through a brief PowerPoint presentation. I don't know who all has been out to the wastewater plant, if you know the condition or some of the issues that we have. So this PowerPoint kind of walks you through it, talks about some of the funding that you have already and kind of steps to move forward for what you need to address compliance issues. So for those that aren't familiar, let's see if this works. Your flow comes into what's called the splitter box and headwork. So that's where your grit's removed, screening takes place, and the splitter box splits it off to the process, so your oxidation ditches. That's where your biological treatment happens. From there, your clarified effluent goes to, or sorry, your wastewater partially treated goes to your clarifiers, where the liquids are separated from the solids. Solids go to the bottom, and they're either returned back to the head of the plant to help reseed the plant, or they go to your digester and holding tank, and then ultimately to your drying beds. So what comes off the clarifier goes to your chlorine contact chamber, where it's disinfected, currently goes out to your ponds and then to your spray field. So
Back to potable water.
that's so as far as the need for the project, you know, you guys have been working very hard over the last few years to help address your inflow and infiltration issues, but you still have your exceeding your capacity. In fact, there's a consent order out there regarding not only your exceedances, but also dissolved oxygen and total dissolved solids. total dissolved solids, they're hitting everybody. For those that don't know, I was born and raised in Hendry County, and I'm also the engineer for Hendry County for their Port LaBelle system. So they got hit with the same issue as far as their TDS, the total dissolved solids go. So that's an issue that's sitting out there, which you not only have a consent order on, but also an administrative order, and I believe you've already worked to address that. Your main issue, though, is the capacity in that water quality. So the city has been working over the last few years. You've gotten an $11 million grant. I'm actually going to go to the next slide. Oops. You've actually gotten an $11 million grant. It's an appropriations through the state administered through DEP. That is to increase capacity and improve water quality. The current expiration date on that is October 31st of 27. I will tell you, in these that I've worked on, as long as they know you're working towards an end, they're not going to rip that money away. You will likely need to extend that. You also are working, you've been approved for a $3 million HUD grant, which is federal, and that's also for improvements and expansion. So the city has been approved of that they're working through the actual contract of that. So what you'll need to do to address the issues, and it's actually will address expanding capacity. It'll also address water quality. I'm going to go back actually, because as you guys know, you also have down here your injection well. Your injection well you are currently not using, and if you can address your water quality issues, that will address the ability to use that injection well, which will solve a lot of your problems. Low-hanging fruit in terms of addressing those grants. The grants simply say expansion and improve treatment. They don't say expand to what your next capacity expansion is. So low-hanging fruit, and I'll show that in a minute, is to add a third clarifier. You have 2 oxidation ditches. If we rate those oxidation ditches from 0.75 mgd each up to 9, and then add the third clarifier. Your clarifiers currently are your limiting factor. So if we add that, we believe you can get an extra 300,000 gallons per day. That satisfies your grants and buys you some time, while we also work towards the ultimate goal of expanding to 2.25, which would be adding another oxidation ditch. And I'll show you an image on the next slide, I believe, which will show you what all I'm talking about here. In addition, the manufacturer of the existing oxidation ditches has come out and made some recommendations which will help improve the water quality of those treatment processes. Replacing the headworks and the splitter box, they've aged, they're in very bad shape. One of the things that we would like to do, a plant of this size, you do not have a flow equalization basin. So if you can imagine when everybody's taking showers at night or in the morning before work, you get a slug of treatment or a slug of wastewater that comes to that treatment. So there's no way to dampen it. So all of that hits those oxidation ditches at the same time, which, as you can imagine, lowers your water quality that's coming from them on the end product. So adding a flow equalization will help dampen that, where you can then distribute that more evenly throughout the day when your flows are lower. Adding high-level disinfection and filtration, that'll help address not only your water quality, but that'll also meet the state regulations, would allow you not only to go to the injection well, but also to go to public access reuse, like to your golf course. So it'll allow you another option without going out to your current spray fields, which is what you've had issues with historically. And then along with that is the electrical and instrumentation improvements. So what that'll essentially look like is right here. You'll come into a flow equalization basin. That'll help dampen the flow. You'll go out of that flow equalization into a new headworks. You'll tear down the old headworks, go into a new headworks, which will also have a splitter box. That'll then allow the flow to be split evenly between the 3 oxidation ditches. From there, it'll go to the 3 clarifiers, and then ultimately to your high-level disinfection and filtration system. And from there, it can either go to your injection well, to your future reclaimed water system, or to your existing spray field.
I don't see a line going to the deep injection well. Will you put one in?
Yeah, it will actually. I didn't want to draw too many lines on here because there are a lot more lines. I wanted to draw the basic. So that line will go from here around, and the injection well is down there.
Okay.
So it will, yeah, that's part of it. I just didn't want to have too many lines.
We
on
have
this
been
thing.
approved for that, by the way.
And the flow
In our
equalizer, is that
permit.
just a way to capture it before it comes to the plant? So
Yeah,
you
so
can,
it
you can
helps.
regulate it as,
So you can, yes.
as you choose, not
You
as
can
it
then
comes.
distribute it out at a more even flow instead of letting all those slugs hit that treatment process. at
We
one
are
time.
going to do that surge tank. Right
That's
now.
one of the most important things
Yeah.
in my mind to do.
So that head works is going to
The
be
old head
vertical, it's
works.
not gonna-
It'll be vertical. Yeah, it won't be like what's there now. It'll actually be up high, and everything will then gravity flow from there. So that, and I'll show you an image of what that'll look like here in a second. Similar to what it would look like. So, the first thing that I was talking about is adding that third clarifier. So that alone will allow us to increase that capacity, and that'll help out with some of the water quality issues that we're having, and that'll then allow us time while we're finishing the design and permitting to at least get you some relief. So this on your left is essentially what a clarifier would look like. So your wastewater partially treated from your oxidation ditches would come into the middle of your into the middle here, and essentially it would settle. So you have these arms, these clarifier drive arms, and they essentially just spin very slow, and they're taking that sludge from the bottom, they're pushing it down and then into return activated sludge and waste activated sludge station, where then it's sent to either back to the oxidation ditch or to waste.
Agitator.
So this is looking down. This would be a plan view of that headworks. So you would come in, keep switching from my slide to my pointer. So you would essentially come in here, and what you're not seeing, this would be where the grit removal, and also you would have screens that would then screen out any rags, things like that. And then the grit would essentially, I think this would be like a screw type grit machine, where it would then take the vortex the grit down into a dumpster or to a device where it would be hauled off. Then you would flow through some channels and ultimately into this area here, where you would evenly split between, you can go back to the flow EQ, or you could go to any of the oxidation ditches. These slides will kind of jump around a little bit. This actually jumps to the very back end, which this level would allow you to get to the point where you can go to either that deep injection well, which you can't now because of water quality, or to future unrestricted reclaimed water access. So essentially what you'd have is filters that would be at the front. So this is a disc type filter. These just spin very slow. It's a cloth media inside that, which you then backwash. That would remove your suspended solids. You would then flow through one of two chlorine contact chambers, and that you've got to meet certain state standards of redundancy. So you'd be able to flow through that, disinfect with sodium hypochlorite, and then this would be your pump station. That from here is where you would then come out into that pipe to the injection well or to that reclaimed water system in the future. This is not what your flow equalization would look like in my mind, but it serves the same purpose. I would envision a circular tank, like if you're familiar with Crom, which they're cast in place structurally woven wound tanks. You probably have a couple of those already, and you would essentially bring all of the flow into that. You would aerate it. So what you see here are aeration pipes, and you would then pump out of that to that headworks where the splitter box would evenly distribute it. But you would have this connected in so that when you knew where those flows were, you could have it on a float system where once it got too high, you would be able to then distribute it. But it helps even out those flows, which you can't do right now.
As you catch that, do you have the ability to pull off heavy solids in there, or do you have to wait till you pull from it?
You really have to wait until, and ultimately what ends up happening with this over time is you'll end up with accumulation of sludge in the bottom. That's why you keep it aerated as much as you can. So this is an an oxidation dish, this is not what your current oxidation dishes would look like. I believe we would match what you have out there now for consistency. I believe that's what staff has indicated they would like. But essentially you have, the wastewater would come in and essentially run around in circles in this ditch, and it would be aerated as it goes. So they would strategically locate aeration units that would allow you oxic and anoxic zones to help with the nitrogen removal as well.
Is there a more effective process than what we currently use?
There are other processes. These are very popular, and utilities seem to migrate towards one type of process or other. Lee County loves oxidation ditches. We've designed the new Vogue is what they call membrane bioreactors. That's essentially a cloth media, and they're great. They're expensive. We've designed 2 of them in the last 3 years in Southwest Florida. I think they're better for confined space. You don't have that issue. Oxidation ditches are probably your best option. The city of LaBelle uses what's called the sequencing batch reactor, where they essentially accomplish all of these steps inside a single tank. So they aerate, and when it moves to the next step, which is clarification, they essentially turn off the aeration, let the solids settle, pull those solids off, skim from the top of the effluent, then they turn it back on, bring more wastewater in, and start the whole process over. I believe when they when they build a new plant, they're going to go away from that process. So that was, again, Vogue 25 years ago or so. So what you guys do in the space that you have, this is probably your best option. So the next steps are to essentially move forward. You've got the requirement by the state with your consent order. You've got funding. That funding will not cover the entire process, but part of what's in our scope is to continue to look for additional funding. The city has been very successful in the past with the USDA Rural Development. One of the things I would like to do first is sit down with Danny and Lynn and staff and really talk through the best approach, whether it's a single project or multiple phases. Right now in my brain, I think you could do multiple phases, take advantage of the funds you have already, while we simultaneously look at other funding like USDA. If history serves me correct, you guys, and in fact, I have talked to USDA about it, we would qualify for what's considered poverty, which would be the lowest loan rate, which would be the federal rate. And you would also qualify most likely for 40% above on grant, which would be really good. And that doesn't preclude you from getting other grants either. So while you're moving forward with that first phase, you could simultaneously be doing that and move straight into that long-term, to expand to the 2.25. So then looking at what that process would be depending on how we did it, your typical design would be about 10 to 12 months. We would obviously try to fast track at least like the clarifier and possibly that first phase. All that's contingent upon timing for permitting and then bidding and construction. So with that, that's I believe all I have.
Danny mentioned that our flows have increased. In the budget, that's why we got flow meters. We were thinking that we actually cut about 800,000 a day with the I&I program. So all of a sudden we started receiving some heavy flows. So we're going to place these flow meters and see if we can figure out where it's at.
That's what's coming in the middle of the night.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You guys going to help us with that part, the flow meters, or is that?
Probably Dave will, I would imagine.
Oh, okay.
but I mean, we certainly can. But they're the flow meter experts when it comes
we
to
want to save money for sure.
Take advantage of either one of us.
Now, so you're looking at a project completion probably early 29.
Probably with everything, yes.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time, I think, especially if the growth does.
Yeah.
I think we're ahead of the game.
I know Led's continually looking for for funds, and like I said with this, my suggestion is to at least go after the USDA funding, because I believe, my experience too, get the full loan you need, and it's a 40-year loan. Not that anybody likes a 40-year loan, but that does help lower your payments from your ratepayers. And if you are able to get a 40+% grant, that's very good right off the top. Any other questions?
Anyone
Thank
else?
you.
No.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Danny. That was informative and
I know Dylan's got a copy of the handout or the presentation. Kathy, do you have a copy of that? The presentation for tonight?
I don't have it printed.
Okay. No. I don't need it printed. I just she'll email it to us so that we can, because it wasn't in the package. So if you could email it to us,
Okay,
Yeah.
yes,
that'd be good.
yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
okay, we have read the resolution. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Highslope,
Second.
second by Thompson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Danny.
Okay, item 5 on the agenda is resolution 2024-051. Which is our paving contract. I'll read it by title. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving the award of the miscellaneous paving improvements project in the total amount of $332,249 to Bromelli, Baromi, am I saying that right?
Baromi.
Construction, Inc., for locations 1, 3, and 4.
They were the only person that bid, by the way, and it's the only bid that we received.
You think that's, where's the engineer? You think that's consistent square yard price with?
Yeah.
You can come up, Dave.
Yeah, nowadays it's tough to put a cost estimate to anything, especially when there's only one bidder or not a lot of bidders. So I think in this case we're okay. It's within budget. I think we're accomplishing most of what Danny wanted to get done. I would say yes.
It just shows you how busy everyone else is.
Yeah.
You wanna, I know it was in here, but if you wanna go ahead and quickly tell the commission what the projects are, where they're located.
Dave, why do you think that we only had the one bidder? Is there that much work going on right now, or is it just it's just so costly for businesses?
I think it's just that much work going on.
Okay.
Yeah, I reached out to 2 others, and one picked up a packet, but one didn't do anything.
Okay.
Have you tried?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, someone local here. that-
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone is busy. It's tough.
And where are these at?
What?
Oh, the other 3, there's a Aztec and Olympia intersection, just some intersection improvements, East Trinidad and Concordia Avenue.
And that's the 4-way stop at Olympia and Aztec, correct?
Yes.
That whole
Yes,
4-way
that whole
intersection.
4-way.
Okay.
East Trinidad is down by D&J Machinery. It goes from Francisco to San Gabriel. And then Concordia is the same. It goes San Gabriel also to Francisco, 2 blocks. It's pretty rough in there in that area. Kind of rated those. Those kind of came out the worst ones.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny, you mentioned some of the I&I or some of the gravity sewer was replaced. I think it was on Concordia, I believe.
Yeah.
So this is just a mill and resurface to get it back up to standard, and it shouldn't settle anymore.
Probably 30 more that need it, so
Right.
we're heading the right.
So,
Well, we're chipping away.
we'll chip away at them.
Yeah, I know, that's. Sure like to get more done, but I do know the costs are up. Okay, any further questions?
Move that we approve resolution number 2024-051.
Motion by Gardner, second by Highslope. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 6 on the agenda is resolution 2024-052. This is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving change order number 1 to the continuing agreement for professional services dated October 20th, 2020, and an addendum dated October 19th, 2023 between the City of Clewiston and Johnson Engineering.
I just want to say Johnson Engineering continues to do excellent work for us, and they go above and beyond, get a lot of projects for us and complete.
Thank you, Danny. I would like to say it's been awesome working with the city just for the short time that I have, and Stephen Howard, who's here, been here a couple times, really enjoys working with y'all. It's been a pleasure taking over for Andy and Joe that were here before.
So this is just a continuation of the agreement, and I believe there was a rate sheet
Rate
attached.
sheet is, yeah, dated back in October of 2023. I don't know if it was something that was
It was missed.
missed, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
when the agreements, this was missed.
So if you want to keep the engineer, I'll turn the motion.
I'll
So
motion.
Okay, motion by Gardner,
Second.
second by Edmonds. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 7 on the agenda is Resolution 2024-053. By title, it's a resolution of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving the State Revolving Fund Amendment Number 2 to Loan Agreement WW 260440 and Grant Agreement SG 260441 between the Florida Department of Environmental Protection and the City of Clewiston.
This is your I&I program, and we're just asking for an extension because we still have a few more lift stations to complete. So we just asked for an extension, so it pushed the payment out.
I move we approve resolution 2024-53.
Second.
Motion by Thompson, second by Highslope. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 8 on the agenda is Resolution 2024-054. By title, it's a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving the revised FY 2023 Community Project Funding Grant Agreement, number B23CPFL0388, in the amount of $3 million between the Department of Housing and Urban Development and the City of Clewiston pursuant to the authority of the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023, which is Public Law 117-328, and the explanatory statement for Division L of that act, which was printed in the Senate section of the Congressional Record on December 20, 2022 for the wastewater treatment plant improvements and inspection.
Yeah, the public law number was wrong, so that's why this has been put back on the agenda.
Okay,
This is one of the ones Danny just mentioned to you that we received from the HUD. You guys approved it, I think, back in, what date was that? That date.
2023.
Yeah. Trying to find resolution number 2023-062, yeah, July 17th of 2023. And that's when the number was placed, of course, wrong. So.
I'll
it
move
just-
that we approve resolution 2024-054.
Second.
motion by Highslope, second by Thompson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 9 has been removed. We'll go to item number 10. Just resolution 2024-056. This is our formal request that we asked to request from money from the Tourism and Development Council. This is resolution 2024-056, a resolution of the City of Clewiston, Florida, authorizing the formal request of funding from Henry County Tourism Development Council for the John Boy Auditorium.
She's just asking to get your approval, then we'll get some numbers put
That's
together
what I
for
was
you guys.
wondering. Are we gonna go
Yeah.
put a specific bid
Yes.
together? Okay.
Just wants
That
your
would be
approval,
best.
so we can go after it. We'll put the numbers together for you guys.
I think Thompson motioned. Who else was it?
Gardner?
Second by Highslope.
No, Ms. Gardner.
Gardner. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 11 is resolution 2024-057. By title, it's a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving work order number 2020-029 of the continuing agreement for professional services between the City of Clewiston and Johnson Engineering, Inc. for design, permitting, bidding, and construction administration services for the Pasadena Water Main Extension Project.
This is for Mike Martin's paint store. We had an agreement with Mr. Martin. Our last city manager worked this agreement out, but this is in our CRA zone, by the way. So that will help us some.
And this is just not one street, this will be an entire
It'll help
block?
that whole block. Yeah, it'll be an 8-inch water main, replacing a 4-inch basically. And it will loop to an 8, I believe, yeah.
Got a motion? I didn't hear what you said down there.
Oh, no, I was just clarifying that it wasn't just for one area, it was just for the entire block that we needed to upgrade from a 4-inch to an 8-inch water line.
I'll move for approval of resolution 57.
Second.
Motion by Thompson, second by Gardner. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 12 on the agenda is Resolution 2024-058. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving ZET Construction, Inc., change order number 13 for a contract time extension of 16 weeks for the bridge over the C-21 Canal project.
This is a change order for the, oh, go ahead, Dave. I didn't see you, for lighting. Go ahead, you got.
So it's really just for time. The two long lead items, the brackets for the signs and the signs themselves are, as Juan Boulevard mentioned earlier, those are 13 weeks out. So most of the project will be done with the exception of those signs. So that's the longest lead item. But I want to say that this is contingent upon FDOT approval as well. We want to get it in front of you, but we'll also concurrently be throwing it over to Hollywood DOT to make sure they're okay with it.
I think the signage was an add-on also. Some of the signage was.
Yes, the 4 big 7-foot signs.
Right, okay.
That was an earlier change order to get Zep on board.
And it took some time to get started and made, and yeah, it was a big
8 weeks.
Big job,
shop
yeah.
on it.
So nobody thought of brackets, always ordering signs, put them up. Nobody thought of ordering the bracket at the same time we did the sign?
Well, it's all work the sign, the light, he's reducing the light coverage to make sure it shines up right, and Zep's doing a good job of making sure this is gonna look good for the city.
We're excited to have it completed.
Yes, me too.
Danny, we still
Got people
plan on,
waiting on that parking lot.
we still plan on having a grand opening up there when we get finished with the project?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-058.
Second.
Okay, motion by Gardner, second by Highslope. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, Resolution 2024-059. It's a resolution of the City of Clewiston approving the appointment of Randolph Maxon to the Trustee Firefighter Pension Board to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Sherry Howell.
So moved.
Motion by Highslope, second by Thompson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Item 14 on the agenda is Resolution 2024-060. It is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving a service contract with Electric Power Systems for distribution substation feeder breaker replacements. I believe that's in the budget also.
Yes, it is in the budget. The breakers, all the material has been purchased this year, and now we're just gonna set up to get the work done. Congratulations, great getting this done. This substation's come a long way. I believe this will clean up all our breakers, so they'll all be updated.
All right, entertain a motion.
Got a motion.
Motion by Edmonds, second by Highslope. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 15 on the agenda is Resolution 2024-061. A resolution of the City of Clewiston, Florida, authorizing the agreement between the City of Clewiston and Hanula Landscaping and Irrigation for Phase 5 of the US 27 Palm Landscaping Enhancement Project. And I believe these are just going on the inside island.
Yes, correct.
Mr. Mayor,
We'll
I think-
also be changing some existing trees. It'll be a change order, but the ones that have died and not looking so well. So we'll have a few of those changed out in this project.
And the reason why this phase 5 of the beautification project with the palm trees had to go into the center was because I think the issue that we had, and maybe the engineer can explain it a little bit better than I can, or Lynn can, somebody, of why we couldn't go on the outside on this phase.
Yeah, it was twofold. Right of way restrictions from outside of pavement to the right of way. That part of the city widens out to 2-lane split and it pushes out. So we're really restricted on the outside from edge of pavement to right of way. There's also existing facilities.
Utilities.
And utilities along that strip. So FDOT requires certain clearances from those utilities. So main reasons why we pushed them to the median.
And then, but the other phases are gonna be back on the outside, is that my understanding, phase 6 and 7?
We presently have phase 6 in the median as well. We can work with staff to look at the outskirts, but I think we still have that tight space from the right of way to edge of pavement.
So you're saying that you're still gonna have the same issue with phase 6?
Yes. Utility issue, basically.
Get all the utilities permission, right? To go that side.
Yes, you have to get all, and there's like 5, I think.
We're in the process with phase 6 doing that, sending out our preliminary plans to say, hey, mark up our plans, show us where your stuff is, and then we'll know who's in conflict. And
I believe we have a new utility company. I believe it's Comcast. I think they're coming from Moore Haven, and they're coming down 720. I noticed today they had the Jack and Board team shooting under the railroad, so that'll be one more. I'd make 6 utility companies. So I'm surprised they were able to put it there.
And if even one says no.
You can't do it.
And Danny, the 6 trees east on 27 are included in this.
Yes.
Just
Yes. Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Order, but
yeah.
Do they have to respond at all? Like, is it no response and no?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the alternative might be when those properties are developed, the north and the south, to create an easement
Right.
outside of their easement just for the trees.
Yep.
Wouldn't take much. I mean, 10 feet, I think.
Right.
So that's just an idea that before any dirt's turned.
Yeah, for sure.
If you can bring that up, because I think it does make a difference when you see them, you know, it's a corridor on both sides.
Yeah, it looks
I mean,
good.
the ones in the middle have always looked nice, but it just makes a statement, I think, that through town, they're all, you're lined by the palm trees on both sides.
Okay, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Highslope,
Second.
second by Edmonds. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 16 is ordinance number 2024-14. It is the first reading of this ordinance. I'll read it by title, then we'll open it up for public comment. This is ordinance 2024-14, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, amending the ordinance, Code of Ordinance, Chapter 58, Peddlers and Solicitors, creating Article 2, Mobile Food Vendors, creating a framework for the operation of mobile food vending within the city, providing for inclusion, Code of Ordinance, conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date.
Mayor, if I could comment on this
Yes.
ordinance just a bit. I prepared this after our discussions at the most recent workshop. The commission expressed an interest to allow these trucks for Mondays within the cities, within certain zoning districts, and from 4 to 9 p.m. Something else that's in here is also the inclusion of not just mobile food trucks, but also the possibility for ice cream type trucks. There wasn't a discussion at the workshop at that point in time. I left it in here. Didn't know what the, commission's thoughts were on allowing those.
I think we
I
have
don't
some.
have an issue with it.
Yeah, I think we have some in town. I don't know how
Yeah.
they're operating right now, but you do hear them here in town.
And there is provisions in here regarding noise limitations, and it limits the hours to emit something like you would see on a typical ice cream truck from the hours of 5 to 7 p.m. Again, just not something that we went over previously. Wasn't sure what the commission's thoughts were on that.
Mayor Pittman, can we ask some of our food vendors what they think?
Yeah, we have a couple of food vendors here. Do y'all have any comments or questions on the ordinance? Have you been briefed on what we talked about? You may want, let's brief them first and then.
And again, this is just the first reading,
If you come up,
so
please speak.
it's the time to discuss it right
Yeah.
now
I'll
because it is a
declare-
first
yeah.
reading.
We'll go ahead and declare the public hearing open. So was what we discussed at our workshop was, as you guys requested several months back, when can we operate and where? So we finally got around to discussing that. And I think the conclusion we came up with was on any private property with the owner's consent, you can set up. We have not set up a public place yet. In other words, city-owned property.
Other than the monthly.
You say,
Yeah.
but this is
Yeah.
commercial property.
Yeah.
It has to be commercial property.
Correct.
Private property, but commercial.
And then once a month, we're going to have a food truck get together, for lack of a better term, which any food truck can participate. I guess we would probably have to set a limit to the number. I mean, if 100 came, we couldn't support that. But local vendors would have preference first.
I don't know how many that came. I was out of town when we had the last event, the city event. From what I understand, I don't know how many were there, but it was
There was quite a few.
It was a success for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
okay.
It was about 8.
8.
8.
Is that usually on average for an event?
Just state your name and.
Oh, sorry. My name is Leonard Moore. But like during the Sugar Fest, big events, it'd be way more. But on a smaller scale, it'd be about between 8, 9 trucks. Have a couple of vendors outside of town, the rest of them up from here.
Outside of town, you mean?
Like from other cities.
Okay.
We had a lady came in from Martin County, and then we had someone from I think Fort Myers as well. But the rest of them was from here.
And I think Parks and Recs is trying to get it where we can get on the cycle of the other food truck events, so we can have more vendors come over in the future. So
I think
I think
a lot
the
of
longer-
them sold out.
the longer we
They
have
did.
it, people will know and expect it, and they'll start coming over. Yeah, he's sold out. My favorite.
Upstairs.
Now,
We go out of town as well?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Now, currently, the operation, other than the city's events, you can operate.
Okay.
But the event hours and days in section 1 are commercial or industrial zone private property on Mondays within the city from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. I personally would like to extend that, but I haven't talked to any of you guys since our workshop, any of the food vendors, meaning you guys. What do you see in other cities as far as what days are they allowed to service?
Most of any day. Yeah, it's like it's I ain't gonna say wide open, but I don't see any limitations on other cities because every time we travel, we go, we always see food trucks. We like to count them and see what area they're in.
You go to other cities?
Yes. We've been in Fort Myers a lot. We've been in Fort Lauderdale a lot, and we've been in Palm Beach a lot. That's where we go and get our foods. We get ready to cook and stuff, and we see.
And the bell.
And the bell. Yeah, like most of the gas stations, some plazas, certain areas close by the highway off the main drag. You see them all the time.
And you mentioned bigger cities. Do you do any other smaller cities other than Clewiston? During the week?
Okeechobee, we have done Fort Myers a lot. Mostly LaBelle, Moorhaven, Okeechobee.
Is that like on a regular basis, or you just do special events in the small cities?
We do. We was doing LaBelle on a regular basis.
Okay.
But we do events.
Okay.
Okeechobee have a lot of events.
Right. Yeah.
Do they charge you a fee?
Yes, ma'am. For the big events, they do. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor, I know that after our discussion, and I got just riding around town, I know that some restaurants are closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, all day. They're closed for 2 days, so I don't know if we want to consider, expanding it to Tuesdays as well, and that it gives an opportunity for folks in the town to be able to go, if their favorite restaurant is closed on a Monday or Tuesday, that they have an opportunity to go to something different. I don't know if that's, what everybody wants to consider or not, because we do hear from our restaurant owners who have, brick and mortar, that they're in competition with someone who's, they're not paying taxes on their, on something that's movable, right? And so, you're paying real estate taxes. I'm sorry, real estate taxes, which is the biggest chunk for a property owner. So we're hearing both sides, so we're just trying to balance it out and know that with our recreation department is that they are going to have more and more events and at different locations, not just at the city park. So I think that that's also going to make a difference. So that was my only thought about the hours or the times that we have, several restaurants that are closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, not just on Mondays.
So that's Monday and Tuesday is the only day?
Right now, it's just Monday.
Oh, just
but
Monday
we're
right
talking
now?
about adding Tuesday, and then city special events, or like I know we're doing the Bond Street special. I think we talked about that already.
Market.
Or is it
The market
coming
on
up?
Bond Street is once a month.
Consent agenda.
No, I'm not sure. You'd have to contact their board to see how you get invited to that one. I don't know.
It's-
So, Mayor, that was one of the things. I had a meeting with U.S. Sugar and the people of the Bond Street. And one of the complaints was not enough food. So food trucks are going to probably be invited this time around.
Yeah, and that's
we were talking about at the location, and so they're definitely going to probably look into
and that's
that.
on the Saturday once a month
Right.
on Bond Street.
Right. Okay. Because they were doing that last year, right? But it just had mostly tents. Because we tried to.
I don't think they were allowing.
Yeah.
vendors in
They
those
weren't
tents.
allowed a truck to come down there.
I think now that they are, I
Yeah,
think that's
that's
one of the
gonna
things that
change.
on the request I saw where they asked for food trucks.
So, and you say we have to get permission from the property owner to be able to set up
Sure.
on Monday.
Mondays and,
Mondays, and if we add Tuesdays, yes.
And what time?
4 to 9.
4 to 9.
4 to 9.
And if this works, this is my thoughts. If this works out, maybe we can expand on it. Just because the state has tied our hands on what we can implement and not. So we're just trying to get started, see how it goes. If it works out, we can always expand on it, expand times, days, you name it.
Thank you.
I know what you're thinking. I understand. I know.
Well, another thing is that even though we see food trucks in a lot of places, it might not be, they're also complying with the regulations of that community that they're in. In the much bigger communities, it probably
Harder
can,
to
yeah.
catch.
So,
Anyone else from the audience like to speak on this issue? Okay, we'll declare the public hearing closed. In commission comments, do we want to add Tuesday to section 1 operation? Right now, it just says on property on Mondays within the city.
I have no problem with adding Tuesday.
Okay, so we'll add Tuesday into that.
And this is just the first reading, so.
It's the first reading, and we're still gathering a lot of information. For instance, if a Monday's a holiday, it's Labor Day, let's just say, or whatever, Memorial Day, and somebody wants to set up at Ace Hardware parking lot at 11 a.m. to serve lunch and dinner. So I think there's other ways we could massage this. It would make more sense to set up all day.
Well, do we want to go ahead for Monday and Tuesday, make it from 11 to 8 or 9? I mean, I don't know everybody, how many people come to your place after 8 o'clock at night, but to eat?
You gonna be out that late?
Yeah.
We'll be sold out by then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah, that's the hope anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe from 11 to 7 or 11 to 8?
I think leave it
I
at,
concur with that.
I would leave it at 8, probably.
Yeah, 11 to 8,
And
and,
8.
yeah, Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yes.
I think that's reasonable to
It'll
get
give the
started.
community more options for lunch.
Yeah.
I got another question. So then we don't have to get anything signed, like a city permit or nothing like that for that day.
Just if the fire inspection has to be updated.
You're already inspected by the fire department.
But you're already inspected by the fire department.
But
But
you
the-
do want to
but
get a
the-
written permission from the property
owner.
if they're not
Okay.
The new
But-
ordinance also requires a completed wastewater affidavit, basically saying that you're going to abide by wastewater disposal practices. That you'll have to keep, handy with your truck.
Okay, yeah, because we got a spot for that where we put our wastewater.
there. Now,
No.
That's all right, you know.
Just checking.
Okeechobee Landing.
But you're self-contained on your truck.
Yes,
That's what
sir.
we're saying, yeah. You just have to have the affidavit paper with you, that's all.
Okay.
And of course, the approval of the property owner. I think, like for the city of Clewiston, market, I think they've already gotten approval because it's an event
Like a
application.
blanket.
You just have to talk to them about it, but, yeah.
Okay. No problem. All right. Thank y'all.
You got, go up there,
Yeah,
please. Kathy got on time. Yeah, Kathy got, she got really mean.
When I
I mean,
listen to
rough
it.
today.
Travis Reese, Fire Chief. I did inspect the food trucks, and I'd like to report that they were all very clean. They met all the safety regulations for the state,
That's great.
so no issues there. I would say that as we're looking at this ordinance, some of the things that we're asking for, which is good, the vendors already know they should be doing that already. That's still part of the state Florida Administrative Code that they should be following. So I did look at those, and they did have receipts where they were getting rid of their waste. And I didn't ask them that, but you shouldn't be filling up from residential spigots. You should use a commercial establishment. So those kind of things. So far, it looks like most of the food vendors are compliant.
And on any of this, my concern has always been people who come in on a Saturday and a Sunday from out of town, and we have no idea.
Now, only at special
anything.
events would we be looking at.
Right, but I think this gives it some teeth that those who are coming in, just for the day or for the afternoon, that our law enforcement and our code enforcement can address those issues because they don't comply, with this. They just
I
set
think
up
the
wherever they want
ordinance
to.
is written really well to
Since we
give some teeth.
since
to
we
it.
have this ordinance and we have vendors that's going to comply, willing to comply, do the right thing, I think we even need to enforce,
Absolutely.
have better enforcement on the weekends and address that, especially Trinidad Park.
Likely. I did know another comment on item 8 in the ordinance, conducting business in public right of way and access. As I was looking through the ordinance, we need to add some language there for the special events, because a lot of times, like the ones I looked at the special event we just had, even though it was on city property, all the trucks were located within the right of way. But the special event, you were closing the street. And I heard you mention Bond Street, we do the same thing. So I think if we had just some language to make it clear to code enforcement that it's okay if it's with a special event to use the right of way if it's the event is approved that way.
Okay.
That's
You can
all.
make that happen.
Thanks, Travis.
Okay, yes, anything else?
Was there a consensus as to the 8 or 9 p.m. limit?
I think 11 to 8.
11 to 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, 11 to 8 on Monday and Tuesday. And then we want to hear from the public. As this moves on, because I know what you're thinking, what's wrong with Friday and Saturday? Well, let's see. I want to hear from the public, the citizens too. But anyway, we have an ordinance on the table for the first reading. I think we're declared the public hearing closed, so entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Highslope, second by Thompson. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we are tabling 17, 18, 19, 22. Okay, item 22 on the agenda. This is the last item, if you're wondering. It's also a first reading of ordinance 2024-13. This is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, abandoning and vacating its interest in a portion of Okeechobee Avenue right-of-way located north of Block 24 of the General Plan of Clewiston, Florida, as revised, subject to utility and access easements to be maintained along the entire length of the existing easement, providing for recording, effective date, and other purposes. I think at the workshop, they showed us the map of this property and how it jutted in.
At the first reading, we were shown how the request for this property was less than the adjacent properties along Okeechobee Boulevard due to the original 1925 plat.
We'll declare the public hearing open. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak on this first reading of ordinance 2024-13? Okay, seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Any comments by the commission?
Does this hinder through traffic?
Say again?
Does this hinder any through traffic?
No,
on the turnaround?
no, we have plenty of room access. Won't affect anything.
Any other questions?
Move that we approve ordinance number 2024-13 as a final reading.
Motion by
Second.
Gardner, second by Highslope. Further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And anything under old business?
Mr. Mayor, I've been looking at the old business and what we have here, and there's a lot of things on here that we've approved and that are completed. And I'm just wondering if those items can be moved to a back page and only leave the items that we still need to work on in the first 2 pages so that we can have it. There's just completed, ongoing notes, and I just think it would be good to have it a little bit clearer. So I don't know if we can clean this up a little bit, Danny. If you look at it, I mean, I've made some X's on the ones we've already approved, but the dates are on there. So I'm just thinking it would clear it up for us to be able to look at the first 2 pages and know these are the things that we've got to focus on.
Yeah, and you got, Kathy can.
And so, one of the biggest items is on the very last page, which should be probably at the very front. So, because it's something that has to be done.
Right.
And the ongoing ones, I think it's
plan review.
Yeah, the ongoing ones could be, up on the first and second page. So, because there's certainly some ongoing ones that would need to be addressed as well. Thank you. That's all I have under old business.
Okay, anything else under old? Monthly activity reports? Any questions on those? Okay, comments from the city manager?
I'm good at this time. Great job. Good.
All right, Mr. Attorney?
No comments here.
All right. Comments from city commissioners? We'll start with Ms. Edmonds.
I'm good.
Mr. Thompson?
I think I speak for the whole commission. Glad to get through this budget. Smooth. It speaks for a lot for staff, and we've had a few hiccups. We pushed through it. We did our due diligence, had a lot of workshops, and looking forward to move on to the next.
Awesome job.
Okay, I don't have anything to add other than just I'm sure most folks don't need a reminder that tomorrow is election day. primary election day and make sure everybody exercises their right as Americans to go out and vote. It's a privilege and an honor as a country that we're able to do that in a democratic way. So God bless the USA.
Amen to that. Commissioner Haslip, any comments?
Just want to thank Danny for a very thorough agenda. Danny and staff, even though we had to mark off a couple of them, it's exciting to see all the great stuff that we have going on. So thanks
Great.
for all your work.
Good staff, great staff, actually.
Yeah, I concur, agree, ditto those comments. Great job on the budget. I'm looking forward to our first reading and passing of that. And looking forward to the county. I'm not sure if they finished up yet, seeing what their millage rate's gonna be, their final millage rate. But anyway, great job, staff, Danny, everybody. Just a final word for me, pray for the conflicts going on around the world, especially for our brothers in Israel. So keep our prayers going there, and of course for our national elections coming up and our local elections. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned, guys.